Hello, hello. Just waiting for.
Hi.
Yay!
Hi.
Where
Hey.
All right, I think we're live. This is my first time, so I hope this goes well. But I'm seeing people joining and waving, so that's great. So yeah, hi everyone. This is um, this is part of a digital bootcamp that I'm attending, organized by the Food and Agricultural Organization (FAO) and by the Future Food Institute. And we're a global cohort of climate and food shapers. And we've been asked to connect with a local climate and food shaper. And one of the first people that came to my mind was Nora. So I'm super happy that you're joining us today.
So happy to be here. So thank you for thinking of me and thinking of our nonprofit. And I love the sound of your institute. It sounds amazing. So can't wait to hear more about that too.
Yeah, it's really cool. We all care deeply about people and planet. And I think we share a passion for food, and we see so much opportunity to both impact the environment and people's lives through food, really through building that connection. So yeah, I'm excited.
How we met.
Huh?
That's how we met, through food. So
yeah. Exactly. Yeah. I was just going to quickly say how we met, and it was really Nora was leading the team at Fairtrade USA when I came on board, and continuously I was impressed by your leadership, by your empathy, by your understanding and care for people and for the mission. And yeah, I see you as a true inspirational leader in the space. And with your positive attitude, with your creativity, I know you can move mountains, and I'm so happy to see what you're doing now and learn more about it and share this with the global community. So one of the things that you always did when we did meetings, you started with a little warm up, which I really loved and always remembered. So I wanted to start, before we go into like some real questions, I wanted to ask you, if you were a weather, what weather would you be?
Oh, we did used to always do these. I think I'd have to be right now, and normally I'm all about the sunshine, especially because we need extra vitamin D right now. But I think I'd have to be partly cloudy, just because I'm trying to hold optimism, and it's a really tough time in our country and our world right now. So I think I have to be partly cloudy with like hope that we're gonna have full sunshine soon.
Awesome.
What would you be? How are you doing right now, and what weather pattern would you be?
Yeah, I feel a little bit like I'm in a storm. As you said, there's just so much going on around us, and I feel like there's more and more things that are disturbing me or changing my perspective. Mm-hmm. But it's not a storm that really scares or frightens me. It's just something that motivates me to do more, to also come out of that storm in a better position.
I love that. Yeah. If anyone who's on wants to, hi Sarah, if anyone wants to put their weather pattern, you can emoji your weather pattern of how you're feeling about the world right now, or yourself, or how you woke up today. It doesn't have to be macro. It could just be, today, right now, like after or before coffee, maybe.
Yeah, I love that. Such a great idea. Yeah, and also if people have questions or want to share thoughts, please use that comment function. We're here, we're seeing you, and we'd love to hear from you. Okay, so with that, I really want to hear more about your organization and Eat Real. What's the mission about it?
Yeah, so Eat Real is a nonprofit that is all about increasing real food access and real food knowledge in order to improve the human health crisis and help solve the planet health crisis. We really believe that food has the power to change the world for the better, and we think it's urgent. And so we're really on a mission to do that, to increase real food access and knowledge. And we do that through schools and through food transformation in the U.S. school system.
Yeah, I think the school aspect is so interesting. And I know that in this cohort that I'm at, there's a lot of people from around the world, and they might not know why that really matters in school. So can you tell us a bit about how food in schools usually looks like here in the U.S.?
Yeah, so the nonprofit that I joined, that I lead, has been around for over 12 years, and we weren't always focused just on schools. We'd worked with schools, but not focused solely on the school system. And we decided to focus on the U.S. school system. And really, we have a certification where we help schools transform their menus so that they can offer real food and clean out the bad things and add in the good things when it comes to food. And the reason we decided to focus on the schools is because our school system is actually one of the largest food systems in the United States, if not the largest. In the United States, there's a school in pretty much in every community, and schools feed a lot of kids. Some kids, it's 50% of their nutrition. Some kids, unfortunately, it's 100% of their nutrition. And we have a major food insecurity problem in the United States. So getting access to meals at school has been critical. And our schools provide meals, 5 days a week, 2 times a day, sometimes 3 times a day. And so if you can feed, 30 million kids in the United States 2 or 3 times a day, 5 times a week, then you can improve that food and make it better for the planet and better for those kids. You improve their health and the planet's health. And there are actually more schools in the United States than any other restaurant chain. It dwarfs any other restaurant chain by 3 times. The next largest restaurant chain in the United States is actually Subway by unit location. So just the magnitude of the school system and how many people and children it feeds is huge. And the nonprofit was founded actually by doctors who wanted to have a more proactive approach to our health crisis and not a reactive approach. And so they really felt like it was the time to focus on helping kids develop healthy habits earlier. And so it was pretty much a unanimous decision that we wanted to 100% focus on schools because of the scale of our school system being such a huge component of our food system. And then because it really is about helping kids, so helping the next generation and helping early habits form.
Yeah, wow.
So that's a bit about why. Does that explain kind of why we're focused on schools?
Yeah, absolutely. Because I think the scale, what you mentioned, is so impressive. That it's one of the largest. Did you say the largest?
The largest restaurant chain in America. It's 3 times larger than the next largest restaurant chain in America.
I think that's incredible. I think nobody really thinks about it that way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And when you pull the numbers, I mean, it's billions of dollars, and it is. So if we can fix that, we feel like we have a really good shot about creating food systems change. And just the purchasing power also of our schools, then if you think about their purchasing power combined, it's massive. So if we can really, we think the movement can, it's underway. There are some amazing schools that are, have been in this work for a long time, and it's happening. So there's a really positive shift that's starting to happen in our school system in the United States.
That's amazing.
We have a lot of work to do, but yeah.
Sorry, what is that?
We have a lot of work to do, but it's moving. And during crisis, schools actually are serving, in most cases, and the data that we're pulling, more food than local food banks during the COVID crisis. So schools are emergency food responders as well, and are cornerstones to fighting food insecurity during COVID, which with unemployment claims, I just saw 1.4 million more, like with unemployment claims rising. And actually I just pulled data this morning that food insecurity and SNAP enrollment in the United States has gone up. Our food assistance has gone up in the last year. So we already had increasing food insecurity in major COVID hotspots across the country, and it's been increasing in the last. So it's been increasing the last year, and so schools are super important for getting, even though they're closed in many cases right now and through the summer, they're still feeding kids a lot of food.
Yeah. So let's think about, there's this huge scale of these schools, a huge influence, and there's the children that really are depending and having access to food that is served to them, right? There's not much choice. What is served to them, that's what they're going to eat. So there's this huge impact also on how children eat, and so many children in this country.
Mm-hmm.
So how would you help if I was managing a school cafeteria, for example? Yeah. How could you and Eat Real could help me to serve better food?
Yeah, and so we work at the school district level, which is why our impact model is pretty scalable, because we'll work with one food service director, and that food service director, it's a really interesting model, and I learned about it only when I joined this nonprofit, and that just how powerful these champions of change are, the food service directors in schools. So you as a food service director would actually oversee, like in some cases 31 schools, 50 schools. Like you would be the decision maker and the buyer, and the program manager for multiple schools and an entire school district. So that is also powerful because our nonprofit then can partner with the district and help them make changes to their menu. And it happens, hey, Barbara, she's amazing. She's a massive leader in the school food movement. So it's really good to have you here. Hi.
Hi.
Sorry, someone just joined. And that is incredible. So where were we? I'm
managing 50 different schools actually.
Yeah, so you're a school food service director, and how would you make change? So we work with the food service director really closely, and we actually take our standards, which are science-based. We've actually defined with our leading doctors school nutrition when it comes what's nutritious and what's sustainable, and so we assess the school district against these rigorous standards, and then we give them a score. And then we help them understand how they can make changes and where they did really, really well, where they're rocking it, and then where there's still room for improvement. And so then we actually create an action, co-create an action. It's not us saying, here's what you should do. It's us saying, here's the data, and what do you want to do? How do you want to improve the food system, your menus for your schools? And we help, and then we help them make changes and meet with their vendors and really provide any support that they need in order to really fix the menu and keep upping the bar. And so what that looks like then is like, maybe you're a food service director, one of our food service directors recently just took out 10 pounds of sugar per student per year from their menu.
Wow.
So, and they made a few changes, like switching from orange juice, which has a lot of added sugar and removes the fiber content, to cut oranges instead. So that might be one example. Or we help them remove antibiotics and hormones and nitrates and help them source more locally, and help them ensure that there are other policies around recycling and waste and food waste and actual containers, which I know you're passionate about. Like really looking at the whole program, not just the physical food, but how it's served and what happens to it afterwards. But really that holistic approach, and help them make the changes. And that's what we've done with multiple school districts now.
Wow, that's impressive. I mean, just a little thing like changing from orange juice to a full orange.
Right.
And that is probably very eye-opening and supportive for these districts, because I'm hearing that, I mean, there are budget constraints for these school districts to provide for food, right? So is that a consideration that we're thinking about, like costs and how to actually have access to better foods?
Yeah, cost is definitely a challenge in the United States in general. Our food is undervalued, and then we need to invest more in our food to pay the true cost of our food. But price is definitely a constraint, especially in this setting. And so we work with them on that, and we have a range that they can achieve in our certification. So we welcome them to join a journey, and it's not, we don't make it so it has to be all perfect and so expensive, and it's just that won't even be feasible. But we really help them figure out what changes can they do and plot it over time, so that they can, and it has to be delicious too, so that then the kids love it. They can't just make changes and not have the kids enjoy them. So it needs to be really student centered too. So we work with them closely on that, but they lead those budget decisions.
Okay, awesome. And specifically now during this COVID crisis, I think you've come up, Eat Real has come up with this amazing challenge, because you were also facing the situation that children weren't going to schools, and you were worried about how they eat at home. I remember you posted something about tacos. Can you explain what that was?
Yeah, so that was really interesting. That actually came about from one of our board meetings, because on our board of directors, we have some of like top leaders in design thinking from IDEO and then also from some of those top doctors. I think I mentioned that on food, and some sustainable agriculture experts as well. And so when the crisis hit, we really looked at our organization and said, how do we use our strengths right now, and how do we show up differently in COVID, and how do we serve this moment? And what we did, one thing that we saw, one insight that we had, was that the World Health Organization, one leader within the World Health Organization, had said that the number one thing people can do to fight COVID-19 is to eat real food and eat nutritious food. And so we're like, yes, okay, that's what we believe that too. We're like, real food makes us healthier to fight disease. And so we thought, how do we run with that, and how do we help people eat real food right now to boost their immune systems? So we did kind of a hackathon that night, and then we started on a journey over the next week to start to develop some tips and tools for kids to be and families to be healthy at home. And then we partnered with IDEO, our friends at IDEO, and really wanted to think about how do we inspire people to, have kitchen confidence and cook real food to boost their immune systems to fight COVID. And so we launched something called the Rainbow Taco Challenge, which went totally viral, which is, I know in COVID, that's not a good word for it. We should rename that terminology in social media, but it was so much fun. And it was like a positive moment in social media where people could post their rainbow tacos. So eat the rainbow, the idea, eat a colorful diet, very plant forward. And people posted all sorts of rainbow tacos, and then they challenged their friends. And then the friends made rainbow tacos, and then they challenged their friends, and it just took off, and it had 25 million in reach. And it was like a very positive way to get families and kids and people to cook real food and think about eating the rainbow, and think about eating better, and thinking about what you eat right now impacts how you can fight disease, and other challenges immediately. So that was a lot of fun.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm asking also because we had a few sessions with some doctors who and thinkers, forward thinking. We had classes around design thinking and human-centered design, and really how do we actually inspire people to eat healthier? Because there's this notion it's more expensive, or it doesn't taste as good, or it's difficult, and there's all these things that people think about healthy eating. And then this challenge really, even to me, I was like, this is such a cool idea to think about your food as a rainbow, while the rainbow was already such a messaging out there.
Yeah, that was the insight that the IDEO team brought. Exactly. We were seeing all these rainbows in our communities, that people putting them up in the windows, so as a sign of hope. And we're like, what? Our food is hope. Our food is one of the greatest hopes we have to fight COVID, to fight the diseases that our kids are facing. The next generation is actually on track to have shorter lifespans than their parents without COVID. And then our planet is in major trouble. And so we really see food as hope. Food is a rainbow. And then eating the rainbow is the rainbow. So yeah.
Oh, so amazing. That was so successful as well, especially during this time.
Yeah, it was a rainbow for us in our org too. We got a lot of hope out of that. And stay tuned, because there may be other rainbow editions in the future.
Oh, nice. Yeah, we'll definitely look for that. So impressed by this model. And I think, if children had better access and easier access to healthy food, and that could also spiral into their families, right? They're eating healthy food at school, they might bring that home, and their families want to.
That's the hope, that then the kids transform and want to eat healthier, and are introduced, like one of the school districts introduced planet cuisine, this whole idea of plant forward planet cuisine options. And the idea is, like, a kid tries more plant-based options, they ask their parents to also try more plant forward options. I know this is one thing that you're really passionate about. And then their community starts to transform, and then we have regions transforming, and states, and then countries, so we really believe in that ripple effect.
Awesome. One question that we also had doing this, that we have in our cohort, is a little bit like, how do you get something like this started? You have an idea and you want to change something. And yeah, for me, I'm curious, how did you actually get involved with the organization and became their leader, became their CEO?
Yeah. How do you get involved? I think high level, like thinking about how do you get involved, it's all about the people. Like, the people make the organization and make the movement, and who you surround yourself and who you bring to the movement and whatnot is so important. And so I really think that, like, the power of Eat Real is the power of the community that we have and that we're growing, that's building. And so, like, high level, I think, and I think my story there is a story of people too. After a trade, I met someone in ag tech, and during my time in ag tech, working for an ag tech startup, I met someone who happened to be on the board of Eat Real and had talked to me about Eat Real. And so, you know, I met him, and I was really inspired by the potential of the model. And as I got to know the other leaders in the organization and the team, I was just like, these people are onto something so big. And I was a new mom at that point, and I was really wanting to dedicate my time to something that could, looks kind of a moonshot, that could really had a chance to change the trajectory of the health crisis and the planet crisis. And so that's why I really fell in love with the people first, like definitely people first, and then the model's impact potential I got really excited about. And so after my family leave, um, after that point, I was really ready to find my next step. And through meeting the team and the board and everyone, I that's why I decided to join.
Awesome. So yeah, connection, community, people is really.
Yeah. And then I think being open, I was like, you know, I wasn't actually like looking for this role necessarily, but I was open to I was like very much like, it's a time to be open to the universe. And it sounds a little woo-woo, but I was like, you know, I was like, I really wanted to do my most good and was searching for what that next step was to do my most good. And then I was having a lot of exploratory conversations with different people. And so this was one that it's, if something comes across, or like you like come across something and you just can't stop thinking about it, I think that that's a good sign. And I just really started nerding out. And I started, as I learned about Eat Real, like reading about the state of health of our kids. And I you know me, and I come from like food systems change and more sustainable food, and the human health side of it, even though I was kind of newer to me, and I got really into that when I became a mom, and I didn't realize kind of how sick we were as a nation. Yeah. I think realizing the state of health of the United States wasn't something that I'd really confronted. And my own health, I had a personal health scare, and I thought I was really healthy and didn't realize like how much sugar I had in my diet, for example. And so, and it had that, yeah. So I changed my own diet, and I saw that really changing our diets on a personal level was powerful, but then if we could make a societal shift, it was the potential to make a big difference. So that, I guess it's like follow the people to kind of summarize, it's the people. It's like listening for that whisper. Our friend Sarah always says this, there's a whisper that says this way, like if you really fall in love with something and you keep thinking about it, and then like let your personal experience show you your path and your passion.
I love that. I think that's so helpful for many of us who are there right now. I think we're very open-minded, curious right now to see there's so much potential. I mean, there's so much that needs to be changed, which also means there's so much opportunity to change.
Yep.
And I also really appreciate, the information that you're sharing about the human health crisis. So for anyone out there also wanting to know more about that, I think following you and getting engaged, there's so much information, and it's really eye-opening.
Yeah. One of our we have a brand new intern session and a program, and they're amazing. A group of high school and college volunteer interns that are just rock stars. And they got to hear Dr. Green speak, he's incredible. He's our chief pediatrician at Eat Real. And he's also a practicing doctor, and he is an accomplished author and speaker. He's just a force. But he spoke yesterday, and he said that actually, and this is newer data coming out, but that 2/3 of kids right now about to enter high school have a metabolic condition. So we're talking, and metabolic conditions historically were more like adult onset. So these are conditions that, and like high blood pressure or pre-diabetes. These are actually almost always, I mean, in most cases, they are food-related diseases. So our food use is making adults sick, and we know that based on disease rates in the United States, but there's this like hidden epidemic that's actually happening with kids, and our kids are sicker. And that's what really got me, and becoming a new mom. I was like, wait, our kids are this sick? And when he said it yesterday about high school students and pre-high school students about their state of metabolic health. Like, we are in big trouble unless we make some real food cultural shifts right now and kind of return to real food.
Gosh, that's horrible to hear. 2/3.
Yeah. I mean, and metabolic conditions are what put people at higher risk for COVID. So we're at higher risk for complications at COVID as a nation because of food-related diseases. And so that's the number one driver, age aside, for COVID complications in adults. And our kids are actually at high risk for all sorts of complications, and they should be on the playground and not in the hospital. So, and we should be back to school as a nation and be healthier, and we're not yet. So this crisis is, you know, and we can make immediate changes to our diets to improve our health, and it happens quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Like they did a study on kids. 10 days of reducing added sugar can improve the metabolic health of a kid.
Wow. Okay.
So, like, as we make changes, our bodies respond quickly.
That's so cool. That's so cool. So what are you seeing for what is on your calendar, on your mind for the rest of this year? What do you really want to focus on now?
Yeah, there's a lot. I mean, we have a COVID-19 relief program that partners with school districts to support them, since they're our frontline heroes right now, and they're continuing to feed kids. And so we're really focused on that, and we're getting out masks and guidance, and then we're getting extra real food donations to families through schools. So we're really focused on like right now it's emergency response because of COVID-19. And yesterday we did a really cool local farm. We connected a local farm with a local school district, and they served 600 families extra meals, and it helped the school generate $6,000 of extra revenue, and it was a really cool model of getting extra food to families and supporting local living economies and local farmers who took a hit from restaurants. And so it was actually reducing food waste as well. So we have a bunch of pilots along those lines and efforts to do emergency food response, which is new for us, but we're doing that. And then big picture, kind of zooming out, is that we really hope that there can be an awareness shift. Like, this is a public health crisis, and so what if everybody has an awakening around the state of public health in the United States, and this is our moment to actually shift towards healthier choices. And it's like a lot of systems change, right? Like, there's a lot of oppression, a lot of racism in our food system. So it's like we have to make structural changes, but what if we confront that we need to do that right now, and that this is a moment where we can make those serious structural changes and shifts in our food system and in our food culture. Awesome. So looking forward, we're asking, what's our role in that? How do we bring more information forward that's compelling, and how do we share these success stories to show that it's possible?
Wonderful. Both the zooming in and the zooming out sounds so powerful. Yeah, I think I could talk to you just for so much longer. I think there's so many things that you're doing. Maybe in closing, I know we're not all here, but I know that all the members of this cohort will be watching these afterwards, because I'm going to share it with them later on. What would you say to us? So yeah, again, we're like 40 young professionals from around the world, and we're also realizing something needs to change. Mm-hmm.
One by one, and I'd like we can and we must, and so I think we need you all. I think that, and this is going to be global. These local-ish issues that I was just talking about are international challenges as well. And so I think I'm really grateful that the 40 of you all came together, and that you're coming together, and that you built this community. And like I said, people really matter. So hold tight to one another and encourage one another, and learn each other's dreams, and then support each other in that, I think. And we need each of you. I think as we all learn and share and have these conversations with our friends and with our families, and with our kids, that's how change starts to really, like I said earlier, ripple. So I think stay, as much as you can hold on, like we started, hold on to that sunshine, that it is a tough time, and the future feels extra unknown right now, but know that you'll whatever you all decide to do next after this moment of learning that you're all having and togetherness, that it's really powerful and important.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Nora. Thank you for doing this work, for this important presentation. And yeah, it's so great to see you, to hear you, and yeah, we'll keep going. We'll hear.
Amazing. Okay, cool. Well, I can't wait to hear more about the cohort and the group, and yeah, we'll keep in touch. And thank you for this opportunity.
Yeah, this was amazing. We received a lot of hearts here. A lot of different people joined. It's cool to see that.
Yes. Hi. Yes.
Yay.
Okay. People from all over the place.
I think so. It's cool.
Awesome.
All right.
Cool. And we're going to be posting a lot more on our page too. So if anyone wants to follow Eat Real, we'd love it.
Yeah, follow Eat Real Certified. Check out their information that they're sharing. It's really valuable. All righty. Well, enjoy the rest of the day, everyone.
You too.
Bye-bye.